Brothers and a bro fist to you all. Welcome to the first ever Workshop Wednesday. Hurrah! Give me a big fucking holler in the audience right there. Woohoo! Look at all you guys, you sexy bastards. Yeah! Workshop Wednesday starts today and will continue as long as you guys keep sending me videos. What the fuck is Workshop Wednesday? The workshop is something I love doing. It's actually possibly the most favourite thing of mine to do. It's also kind of the hardest thing to do. Isn't that always the way? It's like anal. Too early for an anal joke? I don't know. Maybe. So, Workshop Wednesday is where we get in those situations where we kind of know what we're doing, right? We've watched a guide, we've got our gemming, our reforging is all done by an add-on because reforging sucks, and all these kind of things, but we're still not quite doing what we think we should do. And that could be from a number of reasons. Sometimes it's because our gameplay is just not quite there. We've got all the basics, we know what buttons to press, but we just kind of don't put it all together when it comes to an encounter. We kick ass at the training dummy. We take fucking names at the training dummy, and then we get into a boss encounter and it's like, ugh, what's screwing me up here? I don't know what's fucking me up. Kind of a pain in the ass. Kind of sucks. So, the workshop is where you record yourselves with either Fraps, Bandicam, DxTory, all these kind of programs. They're either inexpensive or some of them are more expensive. But they're not very expensive, especially if it's going to improve your gameplay long term. So I think it's well worth the investment. And you render that video. If you don't know what that means, it means you go into something like Windows Movie Maker. Apple has something similar if you're on a Mac. And you save it in a nice little file, and then you either stick it on the YouTube, which is the best for me, stick it on YouTube, and you send me a link to my email, preachgaming@gmail.com, and you call it Workshop, because I might not find it otherwise. I get a lot of emails, right? So if you don't label it Workshop, I might not find it, and I don't like that. I have to go back and find them. So please label them Workshop. And then I take a look at it and I think, is this guy a baller? And therefore I don't need to help him particularly? Or it won't make for interesting points on the show? Or does this guy need a little bit of help? And if so, I will feature you on the Wednesday workshop. That's it. Simple as that. It's very, very easy. One of the great things is I have also included, which is something I wanted to do from the start, is the perspective of somebody doing heroic raiding. That's super high level, right? Most of us are in this casual, sort of amateur hour kind of doing normal modes, maybe touching on heroic progression, or in fact just stuck in LFR. So now we've got a perspective of high-end players doing their heroic progression, the kind of 16 out of 16. They've done all the things, they know what to do, and they're very relaxed about it. They're farming this heroic content that seems really out of reach for a lot of us. And seeing how they cope with these supposedly very difficult encounters. So we have a perspective of that as well, and hopefully every single week we will have some sort of new perspective to look at from a heroic raider as well. So I would like you guys to help me help you, okay? I just want you to record yourself playing. We do have a good relationship with Beeper, who produce Fraps. They have sent us lots of copies of Fraps in the past. We use them on the 10k subscriber giveaway as prizes. Hopefully I will be able to get some more, but don't rely on that, because you probably have to win some kind of competition. Not always easy, especially if you're doing transmog and you're a rogue, because Ghost wins every time. Every single time. Fun story, today I was filming some more Way of the Warrior 2, which is like everything I do all day, every day at the moment. And I had to dual log Ghost's account. I know, account sharing. Oh my god. I'm so fucking evil. And as soon as I called him and said, can I have your authenticator code? He gave it me. He said, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't log in. Look at my Warriors transmog. I swear to God, that's what he said to me. He was like, whoa, 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 don't end the call. Just look at my Warrior. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how Ghost rolls, okay? I didn't even give a shit about his Warrior. I told him it looked like dog shit. Well, that's how Ghosty rolls, and we all love him for it. So, without further ado, we have today a wonderful DPS perspective, a tanking perspective, and a healing perspective. All three areas covered on the first Wednesday workshop. It's fucking awesome, right? I know, I'm kicking ass and taking names. So I'm going to go ahead and pick one of the easy ones to start with. I'm going to open this bad boy up. This is going to look a little bit shitty on the stream while I master the art of doing this, but that's okay. That's okay. Let's cut to it. There you go. Okay. Okay, so what we've got today is an arms warrior. Now, our arms warrior is somebody who is designated as the off tank in his guild, right? You are the off tank. I really don't like that term anymore. I think you are just a tank. That's it. This off tank designated main tank thing, it's kind of getting old and it's not really working out, especially in higher end guilds. And if you wish to become a higher end guild, you need to kind of abandon that idea of the main tank. It's something that's a bit old now. It's tired. It's used. Get rid of it. If you have a tank, he is a tank. And he's on the same level as the other tank. Sure, someone will be better, and therefore you kind of main tank him, right? But then you give that guy a lot more gear. What happens? He leaves. Then you're fucked, because your remaining tank is not only not as good, because he's probably had less practice, but he's also vastly undergeared. And you just kind of screw yourself over. You also give those tanks kind of an ego boost. Need to be very wary. A lot of tanks like a big ego. And if you start piling a lot of gear on them because they're the main tank, then they take that ego to the next level. And we don't really like that. What we want is everybody to feel fair and doing well. When you have a designated off tank, as in our wonderful person here, we run into the issue where you want them to DPS sometimes. And then they're kind of out of their comfort zone. You know the thing. You're the elemental shaman, right? Or the enhancement shaman. Or you're the bounce druid and suddenly you're asked to heal or tank. And you're like, I have no idea how this fight works as a healer or a tank. I know how to do lots of DPS. I don't really know how to heal or tank it. Something that LFR is good for is to give you a general idea of how the other roles work. And this guy is going to go into the LFR for us today. He's struggling because he should be doing more DPS. He feels he should be doing a lot more DPS than he is doing. And he feels like he's letting his guild down because of it. And maybe it's a gameplay issue that's causing that. Now, I'm just going to point out here, as we quickly switch over to here, there we go, that his item level is actually 465 in his DPS gear with a 478 possible item level. So what we can see here is quite clearly is our guy is tremendously far behind on his potential gear level for someone who is being asked to do DPS. That's kind of one of the problems we're going to run into here, is the guild says, oh, we are doing X amount of progression. Can you do some DPS? Your DPS is low. Well, no shit, I'm a tank, Sherlock. Fucking GG to you, you fucking moron. And then we feel bad because everybody else is doing much better DPS than we are. And we don't really like that, do we? We want to do well. We want to do really well. Okay, so first things first, let's have a quick look at how this guy plays. And then we'll see if we could draw some early conclusions about UI and stuff. And so for the first part of every workshop, we always look at UI. We want to know how this guy plays, because a lot of people watch like raid kills and we don't really know what we're looking at because the UI is all different to ours and we're like, ugh, what the fuck's going on? So we're going to play this first and then we're going to draw some opinions on the UI. In we go. And we're going to play. Alright, good shit. Off we go. He's fully buffed. He's looking good. He's got 8 out of 8 buffs. He's got an awesome tabard. And he's ready to rock and roll. Look at him standing alone like a total gangster. Oh, there goes your mage. Ninja pulling. Classic LFR technique. That pyroblast goes flying into the air. And we just don't know what the fuck to do. So we start DPSing. One DPS dies immediately. I love this, right? I love this moment. Let's just watch those first few seconds again. Because this is like textbook LFR. I love this shit. Okay, wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, there he goes. Nobody's ready. People are still fucking buffing. There goes the pyroblast. Everyone's like, oh, what the fuck do I do now? Off we go. Heroic leaps in. First man there is this guy. Starts doing his 6. Our wonderful Fury Warrior is in like a gangster. And watch what happens to poor old 6, who's on the case. Oh, he's not looking good for 6. Not looking good for 6. And down he goes. Oh, he's still alive? I take it all back. Nope, there we go. Have you ever seen a more classic LFR moment than the mage ninja pulling and the on-the-ball DPSer fucking dies. I should have used Die by the Sword, idiot. I love that fucking shit. It's so fucking awesome. I absolutely fucking love when that kind of shit happens. It's the best. It's the absolute best. Alright, so we're going to play this for a few more seconds. And then we're going to draw some conclusions. What we always assume in the workshop is that you gemmed and stuff correctly. And everything's pretty awesome. I don't really want to do workshops and check your armory. I'm not going to do that, right? If you can't follow an armory guide, hell, more things to be worried about than me checking how you're playing. So off we go. We're doing some deep. 6 is still dead. No combat resis for the good Fury Warrior. I actually suspect 6 is probably one of the better players, and he's down for the... I think he's down for the remainder of the fight. There's that guy. Get under the shells. This guy. Don't you hate this guy in LFR? This guy right here, who's like can't spell shells, too many L's because he's panic type. He's like, get under the shells! Get under the shells! I want you to note this. I love this. This is amazing. This is the best thing ever. This is where you define what makes your class strong, okay? UI is massively important. Really is like stupidly important. And some things and some spells really define how your class does major DPS. It really does matter. And you need to track that in an efficient way. For Arms Warriors, it's Taste for Blood. Are you getting the most? Are you using and are you tracking Taste for Blood properly, okay? I love this big giant button that says you have Taste for Blood, you have 1 stack. If I was to make any criticism at all of that, not that I think I need to, really, because he uses it quite effectively throughout this fight, is I love to see a cooldown. Because you could squeeze the last second of Taste for Blood out. You can really manage it quite properly if you're aware of exactly how long left you have on it. That's only a minor criticism. But other than that, we're pretty golden Richards. We're pretty golden Richards. So you can see here, a nice 2 stack on there. Everything looks pretty cool. Normal DPS, LFR style. Nice UI, by the way. Reminds me of someone. Oh! Oh! Okay, that's enough of that. Let's rewind back to there. And let's go to the chat. Let's have a look. What do we think about the UI? Anybody, what do you think about the UI? What do you think about the UI? Neat. UI is good. Really clean. UI is nice. Yeah, UI is fantastic. No problems at all with the UI. Again, that minor criticism of, hey, let's just have a little bit of a timer on that Taste for Blood, but you might not need it. If you're okay with being aware of Taste for Blood and how long your stackers last, you probably don't need it, but it's always nice. There is one thing that I think is quite important, and that is Skull Banner. We need to talk about Skull Banner a little bit. As soon as Skull Banner was worded as being part of the new warrior class, and as soon as I logged onto the beta with the other warriors of Method, the first discussion we had, especially with Mr. Decor, who's a wonderful DPS warrior, absolutely amazing player, was how are we going to monitor Skull Banner? Skull Banner is possibly the most powerful raid buff after Bloodlust, okay? It's incredibly good because a lot of players have a lot of crit and they crit really hard, and Skull Banner just makes that damage obscene, especially when it's lined up nicely. The problem is, of course, is that a lot of warriors aren't tracking it effectively to create a chain of Skull Banners. This is something you need to get into. So I kind of want to get into this here. If I go back to here, keybind your thing. I know, I'll keybind it for next time. Where are we? Okay. As we come to this awesome mage pull, notice everything's off cooldown. Good, 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 good. Skip on. There's the mage doing his pull. Off goes our warrior. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not too bothered. I just want to point out here, I'm not too bothered about the delayed pull. As a raider, he's probably expecting some sort of countdown or the tank to go in first. I'm not too bothered about this delayed pull. In fact, it probably saved his life to not be that guy. So I'm okay with that. Right, we can see here, as soon as the window refreshes nicely. Right, Skull Banner is down. And it's his Skull Banner, okay? Skull Banner is here. Now, you'll notice Skull Banner doesn't come with a time. This is one of the big fucking annoyances for me of Skull Banner, is it does not come with a time. So you're not really aware of how long it lasts. You've got a general feel for it. But there's other warriors in here. In fact, there's 3. Unfortunately, 6 does die. Poor Sick. Died in LFR. Troll face. What I want to see here is some sort of thing as big as Taste for Blood. tracking skull banner and how long it lasts. You need to do something and tell me when, or some other power auras to tell you this, because warriors should be chaining. Now, your first instinct to me is going to be, Preacher, this is LFR, right? Who gives a shit? Well, this is the same UI this guy uses in raids. Even an off-tank needs to be aware of his skull banner and what the hell's going on with it, and making sure they're not overlapping, because that is a massive, massive fail. Really bad. You need a good, solid skull banner is down icon. Preferably some sort of order arranged with your other DPSs, which is always cool. Especially if you have a buff like Recklessness, which buffs your crit. You kind of need that shit, right? You kind of need to know when your skull banner's down. And the other side of this is, in LFR, our first golden rule of being ballerific is if you're not sure what other players are doing, you sort it out yourself. So if you have the UI to show when skull banner's down, you're not sure if the other guy's dropping his skull banner, you'll see it pop up on your UI. A good player in LFR to try and get the most for the raid. Remember, you are carrying people in LFR. You're carrying a lot of people in LFR. Is I would wait 1 or 2 seconds to see if skull banner pops up on my screen, and then I know that guy isn't dropping his skull banner. More than likely, the other chap will have everything macro together. He'll have more buffs patched into one macro than a Swifty one-shot macro, right? He'll have everything macro together, and he's likely to just press that first and just go, I'm a warrior, smash, kill. Therefore, you can delay your skull banner, get the most out of it, and that guy doesn't even know. That's what being a baller is all about, is you're doing stuff the other guys don't even realize you're doing it. Because you've sorted this out, you're fully aware of it. So a nice UI addition I would like to see there is something to track skull banner in the raid. It's not difficult to do. I'm sure you'll be fine with it. Now, this fight is actually pretty decent. The DPS is going to be lower than your raid standards, which is what he was essentially worried about. Purely, at the moment, down to your gear and possibly the fact you're playing arms. It's not that effective. What I would like to comment on, and I'll get to the point in a second, is how important Colossus Smash is. Colossus Smash is crazily important. Really crazily important. It's stupid how much extra damage you get out of Colossus Smash. I would like to see more tracking of Colossus Smash and being aware that you have certain abilities. As you can see, Colossus Smash is about to go off now. We have a taste for blood there. I know he's fishing for extra procs, but I want to see that taste for blood there. You see that? We've still got taste for blood. If I go back just 1 second here. These are the things that are going to separate you from the men from the boys, alright? This is really going to push your nuts right deep into the hole. Line that fucking button up with the edge of that UI. Please. It's annoying the fuck out of me. But you can see Colossus Smash is tracked there. Kind of annoying to see. Our main focus should be here on the screen. But still, we've got this Colossus Smash being tracked. You've got a 2-stack Taste for Blood. You've got no overpower procs. That is going to be almost 40% more damage if done under the effects of Colossus Smash. It is. It's nearly 40% more damage when you hit things that are under the effects of Colossus Smash. Be aware of that. Colossus, it's good that he's stacking Taste for Blood. It's great. No problem with that at all. Going for as many stacks as possible is pretty normal. Nothing wrong with that. If you have Colossus Smash on, your overpowers just run out. Taste for Blood is a DPS increase at like 1+, okay? As long as you've got a Taste for Blood proc, you're pretty decent to go ahead and fire off that Heroic Strike. I would want to see you putting that in before that Colossus Smash wears off. You're going to get a nicer DPS than fishing for another proc, which may not come. Take advantage of what you've got at the moment. Always remember that while you're playing. Little tips. Just make sure you're taking advantage of what you've got. What's your situation right now? So the next bit I want to skip to, because the rest of the fight is as standard, you'd expect to see. Nothing crazy going on. Where is Attenuation? Here he is. He's beautiful. Nice heroic leap there. Very nice. Very stylish. Keeping it real for the home team. Keeping it real. This is something I want you to note right here. This is one problem that comes with... I have a gut suspicion. Okay, I have a really gut feeling right here that our player is focused on his buttons a lot and not what's going on in the middle of the screen. I know this because that's what I was doing while watching you play. Right? I wasn't looking at the middle of your screen. I was focused very much on what buttons you were pressing. Because, one, I'm trying to sort of analyse you play a little bit. But on the other hand, that's where I need to be looking to see what's off cooldown. Because there's nothing in my main focus of UI in order to see what's off cooldown, how long things are on for, am I ready to pop my shit and really fucking rim someone to death, all that kind of stuff. I had to look down, and I don't like that. Me personally, I think that is causing you problems. And we're going to see an example of that there. The main problem here, can anyone tell me what the problem is? Right here. It's not that easy to see, but it's definitely happening. So I'm going to give that a couple of seconds. I'm going to switch back to have a look at the chat, see what's going on. There is something wrong with this picture. It's pretty obvious. But I want you to tell me what's wrong with this picture, because you guys should be able to notice it. I hope, anyway. I hope you can notice what the issue is right here. And this is what mainly said, you're actually looking at your buttons more than anything. Positioning, positioning, positioning. The boss he's hitting the boss in the front. Now, this is not a tank fail, it's exhale, okay? The boss has chosen a random member to breathe on. And our player hasn't noticed that for a number of reasons. One, either laziness. It can be laziness. It's like, he's going to turn around again in a second anyway. Who gives a shit, right? Well, you should give a shit, especially if you're worried about your DPS. These are the little things that make the difference. You stop getting parried, which is awesome. You should be very much aware of your environment, what you're looking at on the screen. This was a big indication to me that you're tunneling your buttons a bit more than you should. You might not even be aware that that's what you're doing, but you definitely are. I'm pretty sure you are, is you're looking very heavily at your buttons instead of noticing what the fuck's going on around you a bit more than normal. On a couple of these fights, he does notice that he's got to get behind the target. But it's always nice to see you doing that 100% of the time, out of habit, moving around. And a great way of solving that is by making sure you can see what you need to press in a nice, big, easy way right in front of you. I really recommend you check out that top tips video I did last week. Gives you a great idea of how to do that. It's pretty fucking amazing, okay? You'll naturally increase your DPS via doing something like that. We're going to take one quick other look at an example of that causing a problem. There we go. And it's going to come in a moment. And you can see where this really starts to, again, separate. Here goes the attenuation. Now, I'm going to pause it there. I'm going to allow it to replay. Now, I just want you to watch the buttons being pressed at the bottom, which is where his Mortal Strike and stuff is in his Colossus Smash during attenuation. You might not be able to see it on the stream. I hope you can. Okay, attenuation's over. Awesome. Can anybody see what happened there during movement? Movement is easily the most difficult thing that's going on, okay? It's the most difficult thing that you have to deal with, especially as melee. It's a real pain in the ass. Moving around sucks. Moving around really sucks. There's no doubt about it. It's one of the punishments of being a melee class is moving. Moving sucks balls, right? It's really terrible. But if we have a combination of a fight that involves a specific way of moving, like attenuation, we need to move in that nice, smooth spiral around the boss. Remember, this is LFR, so this is actually an easier version of, say, normal mode. And in Heroic, you've got even more to deal with. So this is why you can see this problem in LFR, and then you can move it up into normal and Heroic to eliminate this issue. Because when it gets harder, you're going to make even more mistakes. What actually happens there? I'm just going to see. Didn't stop DPS. Did not stop DPS. Did not stop DPS. Didn't stop DPS. You could see it. The law was all over it. I knew you could see it. What happened is a standard way that melee copes with moving is you start spamming your buttons and you start missing things, okay? You don't stop DPS. A good player, this is a good player. I don't want you to take anything other away from this. This player has got these really minor little things to work on. That's about it. Other than that, his play was solid. Play was solid. He's never going to keep up with his guild if he doesn't get appropriate gear level that matches theirs. But what's happening here is he's just spamming what's available. But he doesn't know what's available because his eyes are glued to the screen. So again, we've got this distinction between able to look at your screen and understand what's going on, and looking at your buttons to see what you need to press. And this is causing a conflict, especially under moving conditions. So what you do naturally is you start spamming things like the Mortal Strike button, the Colossus Smash button, and the Slam button. You just start fucking spamming them, and you're just hoping for the best while you move. This is why you need to be popping up what's available, taking things relaxed, because you're trying to do max DPS. The big problem is people don't want to let the guild down. This guy doesn't want to let his guild down. That's all. That's the only reason he's submitted is, hey, I have to DPS sometimes. I don't want to let my guild down. And I think I am. That's about it. So all he's done now is he's spamming the buttons. What I want you to do is really work. Main key tip for this is I want you to really work on rethinking UI a little bit. UI is lovely. It's no problem. It's based off mine. I can see that. It works. It needs tweaking to the Mist of Pandaria level. There's so much movement going on that you will see substantial DPS increases by monitoring what's off cooldown and keeping your eyes focused on the screen, especially in a raid environment. Remember, this is LFR. So in normal and heroic, you're going to have a bigger boost from doing these kind of things. It's going to be really easy. Okay? So I think it's pretty awesome. A couple of things that are being pointed out here, which aren't that major, is pooling rage for Colossus Smash. It's not that important for arms. Arms can feel a little bit DPS locked. It's much more important for Fury. But it still certainly helps to be pooling for a nice burst during Colossus Smash. But as we touched on that earlier, I want to just be aware of you tracking when under when the mob is under the effects of Colossus Smash, and what resources do you have at the time to take best advantage of that. You certainly don't want to be spamming things like Heroic Strike, things like that, unless you have taste for blood procs, all right? You don't want to be doing that. But other than that, good play. So you were worried about, you were literally worried about your DPS overall. Your play's actually more than fine. I wouldn't worry about it too much at all. Mortal Strike's on regular cooldown, Overpower's being used, Slam in between, Dragon Roar used outside of Colossus Smash, which is always nice to see. It means you understand how Dragon Roar works. Good to see, good to see. And it's just a shame that your DPS isn't reflecting that just yet. But overall, you're fine. You've got not much to worry about. I would love to see some way of tracking Skull Banner on the raid. You're going to see some nice advantages from that. As you can see when we're moving around here, a lot of spam of an overpower button that's not quite active. Spamming those buttons, just pressing whatever might be off cooldown so we don't lose DPS. These are going to be really minor DPS increases, but still DPS increases, and also keep you relaxed. Nothing worse than wiping because you're not relaxed in an encounter. And you're going to see some good DPS increases from that. Also be a little bit aware of that warrior charging in. But all good to see that, okay? So that is the crux of the workshop. That's video number 1. Yeah! Our arms warrior submit it to us. And just looking at little things like that can help you out. And no doubt, many people in the stream can benefit from that as well, which is pretty awesome. So, our next video, we're going to be looking at a Blood DK, tanking a 5-man. And we're going to look at various things in that. So I'm just going to load this up. Ba-ba-da-ba. Tanking out 5-man. Now, this chappy here, while I play this for you guys, this chappy here is submitted to the workshop before, and he's actually come a long way, which is good to see. In his initial submission to the workshop, he was struggling with just getting the basics key binded and getting a good control over his character without having to look at his buttons. And he's come a long way from there. We can see there's a lot of key bindings going on, a lot of things. Got his Death Strike bound, Rune Strike's bound, he's using all the abilities. He's kind of keeping things on cooldown. There's a few problems here. I'm interested to see if one of you notices what was my major concern. Is that, in fact, 2 major concerns that I've got here, which I noticed in the first few minutes. I've got to say, I love it when you guys send me videos of you doing a 5-man heroic. It demonstrates a lot of different situations that you don't often see in raids. So I'm going to play this for a little bit longer after this. There we go. Okay. So first of all, UI. What do you think? What do you think on the UI? Okay, good. Okay, Vudak got the first thing. Zoomed. It's like an FPS. Okay, you need to zoom way, way out, and we're going to talk about why later. There's some definite issues that come from that. Bars are in the way. Disease ticking. Nobody's got the initial thing. Vinny Bear's got. He's touching on the problem, but not the cause. Not the cause. Should you use more vampiric blood? Diseases, not as mega important anymore for blood. It's something I'd like to talk about. No. Glor getting so angry. No one to see. I'm going to play one more time. Because it actually was something I was... It's so obvious that you'll miss it. Sort of like seeing the forest for the trees. I'm going to play it again. Perhaps I can pick a section where you'll see a better example. Here. If you can... I want someone to notice it. Because it bothered me until I noticed it. If you know this encounter, you'll be able to work it out what it is. I'm not bothered about the clicking. He's got better. That's what matters. Got better. That's all right. It's It's okay. I don't mind. I'll do a workshop for any level of player. It really doesn't bother me. He's aware that he's clicking. There's no issue with that. It's not what I'm after. Okay. Could you tell from that? Could you tell? I'm interested. Could you tell? It's it's so random. Ghost Kiba got it. Ghost Kiba got it. He hasn't got a cast bar. Ghost Kiba got it. There's no cast bar. You didn't notice, did you? He has no cast bar. That is so bizarre. That is the most random thing I ever noticed. No cast bar. Doesn't have a cast bar at all. But he's not casting. Yeah, no one noticed. No cast bar. Doesn't know when the mob's casting. Which then leads to various issues, okay? I'm not too bothered about the tracking yet. We're going to take it one step at a time. I really want to help Ash out. He's been with the... Seth. He's been with the channel for a long time. So I'm more than happy to spend some time helping him out and see if we can make things better. So, okay, let's talk about Ukuk. Ukuk has a couple of things that we could sort out. One of them is, of course, Ground Pound. Now, Ground Pound is is a spell mechanic that's been in for a long, long time, and it's something that tanks have been able to abuse. Ground Pound does have a cast bar, which is why I noticed it. This is the only reason I noticed. I was like, wait, he's not casting Ground Pound. And I was like, oh, there's no cast bar. Oh, okay. Okay. And what we'll notice here is you can actually avoid stuff like this. Because Ground Pound casts directly, the boss actually freezes. At this point, he actually stands completely still, and he'll just cast Ground Pound in front of him, which means you can move off to the side here, and you just never take any damage from it, and you'll never be stunned, which is always helpful. Now, the other point I think is the major point of concern is the actual ability to see what the hell's going on around us. Now, this zoomed-in approach really doesn't help. There's a reason I play so zoomed out, and it's because of things like this, okay? At this stage, where you're tanking a threat is actually fine, okay? He's making reasonable use of his resources. There's a little improvement to make there, but that will come with time. But it's more about now starting to notice what the hell is going on around us. We get so little warning of things like this happening when we're very, very zoomed in. So zoomed in that we get this, we've got maybe 1 or 2 seconds, which some will argue is a long time, but I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is you should have 7 or 8 seconds to actually be aware of this coming into your line of sight. So you literally are focusing on something and then boom, this happens. And you're stunned and you're covered in goo, and now you're debuffed, taking more damage, you're getting knocked around, and it leads to a whole world of problems. And it's purely because you're not zoomed out enough. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, if you can see something coming from there, okay, or even there, now we get this notice from where the grey barrel landed. Look how much more time we've got. That's 4 or 5 seconds of travel for something to actually hit you. Now, in this case, it's again, some people will go, oh, well, it's Stormstout Brewery, it doesn't make a fucking difference. This could be the bomb of death. The situation still remains the same. The solution is you need to zoom out so much more. We need to see this thing zoomed out. Some minor gameplay issues, such as making sure you track using your resource properly, but I'm sure he's aware of that and wants to make best use of that. And that's something to work on in the future. Is just making sure you're using best use of runic power, of your runes. A little bit spammy on the buttons. That's what I like to see. But still, getting used to key binding. I know he's only recently switched over to a key-binded build. There's some buttons he's still clicking, as you can see, like Vampiric Blood. I think he was about to click his dancing rune weapon there. But we're going to get chain stunned now, and this is because, one, we have no cast bar, which is crazy for me. You can see Bone Shield is being tracked up here, and disease is there, which is more than fine. So we're happy with that. He is tracking them. There they are. You can see Bone Shield's up there, as some of you guys were saying. So we've got the basics here. Now, this is one of those situations where the fixes are actually super easy. Really are super easy. This, what we're going to see here is this issue. Now, one issue I have with this is DKs have a particularly easy time with what he's doing now, which is trying to aggro all the mobs. You can see he drops Death Decay there. But ideally, you would run through this just pressing Blood Boil. Now, there's a good reason why that doesn't really happen. And as you can see, I want you to pay attention to down here. The red icons mean other people have aggro. So I'm going to let this play for a little while. By the fucking way, wait a minute. Wait. Who thought this was a good idea? Who the fuck did that at Blizzard? Who are you? You motherfucker. Right? Seriously. I have never been more annoyed in my life than finding the option to turn that shit off. Are you fucking kidding me? Who gives a fucking shit? Who rolled on what? I don't care. Did I get it or not? I don't give a shit. If it went to someone else, it fucking tells you. It's the most annoying fucking thing in the universe. Why do you care about loot rolls? Who cares enough? What do you care about? Why? I know it's in the preference. I found it now. It's in the preference. It's amazing. For what? For what? What is it for? I don't understand. Did you get it or not? End of fucking tale, right? And you can cheese rolls. Nobody can cheese rolls. Random is random. It doesn't happen. Are you one of those guys who like... Does anybody remember... Who remembers this? You would join a raid in vanilla. Vanilla was a nightmare for this. And people would start rolling until they got a low roll. Because they were guaranteed to get a high roll next time. Who the fuck were those guys? You absolute assholes. I know people who used to leave the raid to do that. Oh my god. So fucking annoying. It used to drive me insane. You just see your screen start filling with fucking rolls. Ah! Motherfucker. I hate that shit so badly. Oh my god. But okay, I'm pre-warning you, this shit sticks around. Alright? Sticks around for a while. Right, there's a number of issues that have been caused here, so let's see if any of you guys can pick out some things. Help our baller out here. One, you can see everybody's got aggro on something. In fact, at this point right here, everybody... Oh, look at that. I stopped it like a millisecond too soon. Aha! No. Wait, there. Yes! Woo-ah! Victory. Everybody's got aggro on something. Sucks. I was kind of concerned overall, not with the issue I'm going to point out here, but that there was no Death and Decay dropped here. I would like to have seen a Death and Decay with all these mobs coming in here. And there goes Hoptalius. Alright, okay. So what can we talk about what happened there? What did we see what happened there? It's nothing to do with tidy plates, per se. Nothing to do with tidy plates. The issue is... Ideally, he wants to run through all these bunny rabbits. And again, it doesn't matter that these are fucking bunny rabbits, right? If it makes you feel better to think it's the Easter Bunny dressed in a bikini, you go ahead and do that. But let's pretend for now that these things can one-shot clothies, and we need to pick them all up. Our gut instinct is to be running through pressing Blood Boil. The problem is we can only actually do 2 Blood Boils. The other way we need to do this is know the little mechanic that if we Death Strike something, because we're sitting on Frost and Unholy runes, we're going to get 2 Death runes, which is 2 more Blood Boils. You've doubled instantly, and if you do 2 Death Strikes, you've tripled your ability to Blood Boil. It's something that we forget about while moving through trash, while we're doing things on a Blood DKs. If we want to quickly gather everything up while moving, remember Death and Decay won't work for this situation. Death and Decay has a nice ability to be dropped behind you and pick up stragglers. But what we want to do here is actually run through and still keep our runes on cooldown. This is one of the issues that we run into, is we still want to be tracking those cooldowns, and we avoid running into situations like this, where everything has aggro, Rogue's nearly dead, Priest is on half health, and we've got a boss coming in, okay? It's this situation here. So just watch these runes. You can see these Unholy and Frost runes are going to stick around for a long time. You can see they're still sat there, and we're basically, as you can see there, okay, it's a great little example, is we're spamming Blood Boil so much and not using our Death Strikes and stuff, is that we are sat there, and watch how quickly this Blood rune disappears. Instantly disappears, okay? We're just spamming Blood Boil, but what we're forgetting is just the basic idea that using Death Strike turns those into Death runes. So if we go back a little bit further, so here, you can see that these Unholy and Frost runes are sat on for the majority of this run through. And we can also see loot rolls, which is amazing, by the way. It's the best thing ever. I'm so happy it was implemented. And we're just spamming that Blood Boil button. You can actually see down there, we're clicking Blood Boil. So it actually points to us that we're just pressing Blood Boil in those situations. If we just do 2 Death Strikes there, okay? I want you to just be aware of that while we're running. 2 Death Strikes. Literally 2 Death Strikes there. You've tripled the amount of Blood Boils you're going to be able to pull off. You're going to reduce everybody else's damage considerably. You're going to have a wonderful time at the end of the run as well. It's something that makes people a little bit jelly. That DKs can do that. It makes them a little bit jelly. Holy shit, if you guys could see what just popped up on my screen. Oh my god. Now again, this is where the zoomed in approach causes us minor issue, is we should be aware right now, because of this situation. This is one situation leading us into a multitude of problems that could have been solved a long time ago. Remember, problems escalate the longer we don't deal with them. Right now, we are like, holy shit, everybody in the party has aggro. I haven't got, like, runes. I'm fucked. I don't know what to do. I just need to get aggro on these fucking little tiny bunny rabbits. I'm being stunned. I'm being balled to the wall. It's absolute suck-ass. What we're now forgetting is that there's a boss about to come. If we were in a good situation, we would have solid aggro on all these. We wouldn't have these little hoplings bobbing around. We would probably have a death and decay down here. That's what I like to do, so they land in it. Makes it nice and easy. And we're waiting for the boss, because it doesn't matter if it's Hoptalius or it's fucking Arthas, okay? When a boss comes in, you need to be the first one sucking his nuts. You need to be the Nook Sutter extraordinary. Maximum suck nuts. So here we go. We're still panicking a little bit. We've got ads everywhere. I mean, you can see this is not a nice situation, is it? This could be literally the worst situation we have ever been in as a tank. This is a situation we do not like. We've got over here a shitload of ads aggroed on someone else. We've got our own ads here, which are a total pain in the ass. We've got a dog barking downstairs, which fucking sucks. And now we've got a boss who is literally going to be targeting most probably the healer. Which we don't want to see either. We don't want to see this. So you can see, literally, he targeted the healer. Healer immediately got aggro on the boss. We're just in a mess. We're absolutely in a mess, and we need to fix that. The way to fix that is, one, be aware that a boss is coming. You should know that a boss is coming by now. If it's not your first time, you will know. Nice. This is fucking sex, by the way. This is absolute sex. This use of Remorseless Winter here. Great. Problem. We've got panic. Things are going wrong. Remorseless Winter. I'm just going to stun everything and allow me to get a grip back on the situation. Absolutely lovely move. Great way of solving this problem. Really like that use of Remorseless Winter there. I thought it was fucking textbook. Still like to see a Death and Decay dropped all over him. Oh, he's thinking about it. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, why didn't you do it? Oh my gosh. What's this? What's this? What's this? This is awesome, Ash. You had the right idea, man. You just didn't capitalize. There's that sexual Remorseless Winter. Where's that finger? Wait for it. Oh, there it is, okay. There's the finger. Watch. I say you should drop a Death and Decay. Oh. Oh, no. 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 Not gonna do it. Thinking about it. Mousing over it. Running around. Oh, Whirlwind came. What's good about this is you had the right idea. And if you really had the right idea. But you saw Whirlwind and you panicked a little bit. Let me give you a hint. Ugh, if I can do this. Come on. There we go. Okay. There are some abilities that bosses do, that you don't need to worry about, okay? In fact, you make the fight better by being a tank. You are a tank at the end of the day, alright? So you need to be thinking about this. Some abilities in various fights, be it 5-mans to raids, don't bother a tank. They're there to kill DPS, and a tank can actually deal them quite well. Whirlwind is a good example. Whirlwind by Hoptalius doesn't hurt a tank at all. It does fucking nothing, and it chases a random DPS. In this particular case, it chases the tank, which is kind of lucky in my opinion. I love that, because I am not going anywhere when Whirlwind starts. I am soaking that sucker, and I am chaining 2 taunts to make sure he stays on me. Number of reasons for that is it allows the DPS to continue to DPS. Casters, range can just tunnel into the boss. It actually annoys me when I'm playing, say, my mage or my hunter, when Whirlwind starts and the tank just isn't taunting and sucking that shit up like a boss, right? It doesn't fucking hurt. It really doesn't. Just suck it in, man. Take it on the chin. I know in your gut instinct there is, oh, I should take less damage, so I should move. It doesn't hurt enough to warrant it. So be aware of abilities. This is what comes with experience after you've done this a few times. Oh, Whirlwind's coming. Your instant reaction is, I need to get the fuck out of there. I need to get the fuck out of there. And then suddenly, you go, oh, actually doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt at all. So now you think, well, if I taunt this motherfucker and keep him stood still, I take some damage, but the healer gets to stand still. The ranged gets to stand still. Boss dies much quicker. Wonderful fucking thing. Wonderful fucking thing. So, love it. Love it. Just be aware. Your healer will have a much happier time not having to move. Believe me, your healer will have a greater time not having to run away from that shit. So it's a little bit panicky. Again, no diseases. I know diseases aren't a major thing for blood DKs right now. Some people aren't too arsed about them falling off. I would say on fights like this, it's such a significant portion of DPS that it is well worth doing. Really is well worth doing. I would love to see that. There's a little bit of keyboard turning going on. But that's fine. It's no problem. That's something he knows he's got to work on. No issue with that at all. Getting back on board. Things are starting to calm down now, which I'd really like. He's starting to get a grip on the situation. More than happy. Preparing himself, trying to get a bopper. Again, running from Whirlwind. Soak it up, man. That thing targeted you twice. More than happy for you to soak that up. The healer will have a good time. Especially if you're going to run it into the DPS. This is ace. You charge down the DPS. Fuck you, DPS. I'm bringing the party to you. Iron Man style. Yeah, you run away as well because I'm coming at you. Look at all the DPS scattering around you. That's awesome. That's really cool. Situation like this positioning, by the way, is lovely. Absolutely lovely. Again, it doesn't matter that this is Hoptalius. Doesn't matter that it's Stormstout Brewery. This positioning is lovely. You ready for it? Still like to see a preemptive Death and Decay down. You know this situation's coming. You know these guys are about to spawn. Get a nice D&D down. Just make your life much easier. But again, you're trying to maximize the bopping there. Fine with that. No problem. You would have had an easier bopping time if those guys ran to you rather than running to other people. Good bonus of Death and Decay. And the fight kind of continues like this. So, we've got a good couple of things to work on there. So, the main thing is you need to zoom the fuck out, man. Zoom out way, way ahead. And try and avoid as much as possible getting into these crazy situations. Because these situations can be completely avoided. Little bit of what's happening in the next 5 seconds. Especially as a tank. Especially as any class. What's happening in the next 5 to 10 seconds? What's going to happen? Is there anything I need to be aware of in the next 5 seconds that I can do something about now? If it's ads spawning, can I drop a Death and Decay there? Make my life easier. Am I using all my resources? If you are running and like spamming Blood Boil, although instinctively that is the correct way to deal with it, be aware that if you just use a couple of Death Strikes, you've tripled the amount you can do, and that's a bonus. Other than that, you've got the general stuff to work on. Bit of keyboard turning going on. Still some clicking. Let's get those things keybind, and you'll have an easier time. I would suggest, if you're still struggling with runic control and resources, is you have something that tells you, I have 100 runic power. I have Death Strike ready. I have Heart Strike ready. Whatever it might be. And it'll all be good. Make sure you turn your cast bar on. It's very difficult to interrupt things if you've got no cast bar. That's going to be a really difficult challenge. I would like to see that happen. I think only Warlord Zonos was an example of that. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty good. Right, the final video we're going to look at briefly is from our wonderful friend here at Preach Gaming, Blubzar, the mighty Blubzar. And he's going to be showing us Sulong Heroic. Blubzar is going to be playing a Mistweaver Monk, which is awesome. A very solid idea of healing with the Mistweaver Monk. 3, 4 multiple styles of play, which I love to see. They have multiple styles of play, and he's going to be showing us different ways those are managed. We have this awkward moment in raiding where someone says something to us like, this is a tank fight, this is a healer fight. And then we go, oh shit, that's me. I had this same thing with Muru. Muru was a tank fight, I was told. And I was like, fuck, I'm a tank. What the hell do I do now? What the hell do I do now? So we've got this situation coming up where Sulong is the healing fight. So we're going to be looking at Sulong Heroic, 25 man. And it is the healer fight. Now we're going to see a perfect example of simplifying your goals even while under a stressful environment. If none of you have ever done Sulong Heroic, it's one of the most intense healing fights in the game for AoE damage and so on and so forth. And it also has 2 phases. A night phase where the boss can be DPS'd as normal and there's a ton of AoE damage going on. And then we have the day phase where Sulong can be healed. As such, there are various healing buffs and things that need to be done in order to increase our HPS. Now, some of us will panic. We need to get this ready. We need to get that ready. Blubzar was kind enough to film himself healing this fight and told me that literally we break this fight down into its core elements of how to buff people. So I'm going to be looking at this for a quick idea of what kind of things happen in a heroic raid and how you can literally take a big complicated fight like Sulong and simplify that motherfucker down and have a much easier time and be much more relaxed. We play better when we're relaxed. If we're all stressed and we're like, I need to do really well, we make mistakes. When it comes down to set goals, set things I can and can't do, we have a much easier time. As a Mistweaver Monk, his basic cooldowns are Revival, which is his large AoE heal, and also his Thunder Focus T. Thunder Focus T modifies one of his spells in order to generate something else. So there's his wonderful UI. I love this, by the way. This is what I'm always talking about. I'm aware the screen is slightly smaller than normal, which is fine, actually, because it allows us to see what's going on. This is everything to the Mistweaver Monk when it comes to AoE healing. Okay? This is your Renewing Mist. Renewing Mist doesn't heal for a great amount on its own, but what it does do is jump around the whole raid, and using abilities like our Thunder Focus T. I want you to take special note of these abilities here, these 4 abilities. That is his Thunder Focus T. That is his major cooldown. It will modify both his Renewing Mist's uplift and, of course, his Enveloping Mist. Or Soothing Mist, I should say. And this is his Mana Tea, this is Expel Harm, and this is Renewing Mist. The only large button he has tracked is the cooldown on Renewing Mists. In order to maximize the effectiveness of his AoE healing, he needs to make sure Renewing Mist is out as much as possible. Now, I asked him about this fight, and he said there's a couple of tricks to doing this fight as a healer that you need to be aware of, which is all about being planned. In the beginning, there's a ton of AoE damage. The best way for a Mistweaver Monk to cope with this is to put out as many Renewing Mists as possible and do melee DPS in order to generate combo points, and then be throwing out as many uplifts as possible. So he's going to spend the beginning part of this fight. Now, this ordinarily, to most healers, is an extremely stressful phase of the fight. You've all been there. You've been in this fight where it's like, holy fucking shit, there's so much damage. So much damage. Knowing what your class is capable of is the first step to being more relaxed. Well, this is how I AoE heal. If that's not enough, we need to think about something else. For a monk, the best way of doing it is to throw out enough Renewing Mists on cooldown, using a lot of melee DPS to generate combo points, and then uplifting them. Now, when it comes to this fight, timers are most important. I always say to you when planning your cooldowns, be it DPS or healing, is how long is the fight, when do you need to use them? He knows that the first phase, the night phase, lasts 2 minutes. And the day phase, equally so. Which means he can use his Thunder Focus T twice during the night phase and still have it up for the day phase, which is when it's most important, as he's going to be healing the boss and the rest of the raid. So he knows he can use it once, then again, and then he doesn't use it again because he knows he needs it again in the next phase. Simple things like that, like, hey, I need to use my Thunder Focus T. I can use it twice in this phase. It makes you more comfortable, makes you more relaxed. You know you can use it twice and you're not going to have much difficulty. So as you can see, straight in, resetting his debuffs like an absolute boss, doing his melee DPS, and all you can see is he's tracking on his grid is Renewing Mist, jumping around, jumping around, jumping around. He's used his Thunder Focus T. You can see it's got 30 seconds remaining, so that's one of his 2 uses done. And he's more and more relaxed about what he's doing now. He's having a really relaxed time. Yes, there's a ton of raid damage going on. You can see this can be a panicky situation for any raid healer. Lots and lots of damage being thrown out. But he's comfortable that what he's doing is how to effectively deal with that situation. And he's going to be relaxed about coping with it in the same way. Same again, resetting debuffs, keeping those Renewing Mists on cooldown. The one thing tracking it, Thunder Focus T and Mana Tea building up nicely. All nice and easy. Keeping it up. And there you go. That's the second use of Thunder Focus T to get a wonderful extra uplift on there and revive everybody and get some more Renewing Mists ticking. You can see how many Renewing Mists are now ticking. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All got uplifted. You see how much healing that was there in that uplift. He did 178,000 healing with 114k overheal. And that's the second use. From that point on, we just don't use it again. I'm not even showing you the gameplay, am I? I'm not even showing you the gameplay. Alright, let me show you again. Oh, awesome. It's one of the difficulties of not having a second monitor. There we go, renewing it again. You can see he's got 4 seconds left there on his Thundering Tea. And he's going to use it again pretty quickly because he knows he can only use it the second time. So there you go, fires it off, gets that wonderful big uplift, there it is. and then just continues to do his normal rotation. So he's not panicked, not stressed, and it's not because he's done this fight before. It's purely because he knows that's how many times he can use it. It's 2 minutes, I can use it twice. I'm not going to use it again until next time, which is absolutely awesome. This is what I love about this. It's just calm and relaxed. Even under the huge stress of all that AoE damage, this is how my class deals with it. These are the restrictions I've put on myself in order to make sure that in the next phase, when I need them, I've got everything I need, which is cool as fuck. So we're going to skip on. We're going to come up to the day phase shortly. Got all that AoE damage. No problem, no problem. Nice and easy. Come on. The day comes now. There we go. Into the day phase. Now the rules change. The idea here is for everybody to be healing Su Long, but that can't work. There's still a ton of AoE healing going on. This is where your heroic raiders sort of separate out, okay? This is where the heroic raiders do things differently. In this phase, they take more advantage of what a class can do, which is pretty cool. They take more advantage of what a class is capable of doing. You might think, hey, we need to really heal Su Long as fast as possible. What we're actually going to see is that Blub doesn't heal Su Long at all. Not in the least. There's a good reason for that. Does anyone know what classes heal it first? Some of you will have already done it and be like, yeah, I know what classes do it first. But they take advantage of class abilities. This is why raiding and raid leaders need to be very aware of how classes work. Need to be very aware. Chamois and why? 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 Shaman's Mastery. Yeah. Shaman's Mastery, deep healing, they heal for a ton more the lower health the boss has. Okay? They heal for a ton more. So while you've got these limited amount of buffs to be using, we give it to the resto shamans in this case. So the other healers aren't trying to out-cheese each other. One of the things that gets very much left behind in healing at the end game is out-cheesing each other, unless it's a ridiculously easy encounter, in which case they don't give a shit. But when it's something quite difficult still, we don't cheese. We don't give a fuck anymore. We literally just go about our business. The resto shamans are better at this than me. Very difficult for a lot of people to accept that other people or other classes are better at something than you are. But in this case, we're going to see that that's absolutely fine. It's no problem at all. In a heroic raid, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Other classes are better. Sure, Bloods could go ahead and steal the one, is it 1,500% increased healing buff? There it is, okay? See this buff here, this yellow buff? That gives you a ridiculous healing buff. Blubs doesn't even go near it. He's just literally doing his job, which is why he's a gangster, which is why I love raiding with him, is he just goes about his normal business. Not interested whatsoever. He's leaving the buff, you can see another one there, leaving it well alone, and just going on about his business, just soaking up that wonderful Su Long breath. If you're not sure what happens here, there are 2 buffs in this phase for healers. If Su Long breathes on you, you get a 500% healing buff, and a ton more mana, I think it's 100%. And if you click the yellow thing, you get 1,500% for 5 seconds. And the idea is to sort of mix them in and out. So right here, it's not about cheesing. I can't express this enough. Cheesing is really not what happens in the end game. You can see here, only when there is no damage will Blubs bother to cast anything on Su Long. His job right now is to go ahead and make sure that the raid stays alive while the resto shaman can focus entirely on Su Long and make the best use of their mastery. A wonderful, wonderful aspect of this play. Absolutely love this. I love how little he targets Su Long. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I know so many people out there who would love to just completely cheese the shit out of this fight. I would absolutely just love to cheese it. Raid's all nice and tidy. Go ahead, cast a couple of heals on Su Long, no big deal. Then go back to making sure that that raid is nice. And a nice switch of playstyle from the DPS style to the pure straight up healing style, using a lot more mana tea now and taking advantage of Su Long's breaths. Oh, unfortunately that guy died. Oh well. I can tell you we've no issue with Hack dying. I've played with him before. And he's instantly getting a res, not liking our LFR. So I want to skip on through this to the bit where Blubs does start healing. And then how he decides to play this. For many of you worried about doing this, when you get told it's a healing fight, in this situation, the monks are going to take over the healing, which will be Blubs and Hack. Blubs and Hack are going to be taking over the healing for this segment of the fight. And as it comes into that day phase, Skip on to the day phase where he's doing it. They change up the styles of healing in time. I think it's about 6 minutes, I believe. 6 minutes? All right, 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 5:52. Come on. Oh, look at that. 9 seconds the day. This is the phase where Blub starts to do his thing. And he's going to take advantage of multiple ideas of how to do this. First of all, he heals up the raid, taking his breath, and then starts targeting Su Long. Now, he goes into this phase very easily, just by storing up some chi in order to make sure he gets that enveloping mist on as soon as possible, and then starts channeling in his abilities. He then clicks this buff. Now, one of the things that people stress about in this fight, if you're ever going to do it, is if you take this buff, you gain this debuff here, which means you will lose that buff if you get hit by the breath. So people panic like, oh, I need to get this, and then they override it. It's no issue to actually delay this. And you'll notice at some point, Blub actually delays picking this up because a breath is about to come. You can see he's got the sun breath timer there. You get 5 seconds with this debuff in order to go ahead and cast your spells and get the most out of them for the 1,500%. And during that, he's stored up enough chi to make sure he does some tremendous amounts of healing during that. And there you can see it start piling out. You can see 150k or 138k. Look at this healing. Somewhere in the region of 13 million healing generated through this fight. Again, by making sure his timers are right for his Thunder Focus Tea, it's going to come off cooldown at the absolute perfect time for him to take advantage of that. Which is what I also just love to see, is how cool this is. Now, this is a good instance of trusting your other healers. Some of you have a great deal of trouble trusting your other healers. You shouldn't do that, because he's now just going to focus Su Long. It's entirely down to everybody else to deal with the rest of the fight. Goes and gets his buff again, checks his sun breath. I've got plenty of time. Now, this is beautiful. Look at this. That is a cooldown explosion. This is what you need to be doing with your raid healers while you're raiding. Well, if you want to get to this kind of level, this is the kind of thing you need to see. Guardian Spirit, Life Cocoon, everything piled onto Su Long at exactly the same fucking time, okay? Exactly the same time. This is a glorious sight to see. Good coordination with the healers, sticking everything on Su Long at the exact same time to pull off crazy numbers. Look, 180k, 216k, 214k. All smashed right into him. All timed nicely. You can see he's got the Thunder Focus Tea used as soon as these cooldowns come up. So much coordination that's so easy to do. Hey, let's pop this cooldown together, guys. And then you start seeing these crazy numbers and your fight becomes significantly easier. Significantly easier. So I want to go back. I want to just show you one more thing, which is, again, abusing the mechanics of the fight. Not abusing as such, but making sure you understand the fight. A lot of people know that, hey, this gives me a healing buff. I need this to heal Su Long. And a lot of people forget actually how the basic mechanics of this fight work and how you can abuse that to your full potential. Continues to heal Su Long, doing as many soothing mists as possible. Surging mists, I should say. That's me being dumb. Using his Expel Harm, keeping everything going. And we're about to come out of the night phase in a few seconds. Where is it? 20 seconds till the night. Still focusing entirely on Su Long. We're coming to the end of the fight, taking the odd opportunity to throw out them renewing mists, keep them going. And you start seeing that the raid starts dipping here. You can see this going on. We've lost a rogue. Poor old Darksend, a good friend of mine. Dead. Shouldn't really say. Still funny. Come on, here comes the night. Here comes the night. Boom. Here comes the night. Now watch what Blub immediately does here. Healers tend to forget that you can completely use these buffs when you still don't have to heal Su Long. Watch this area. There's the healing buff. Blub immediately clicks it and uses it to really fill off the raid. Okay, let's go back to that. I just want to see the heal that he actually put on the raid. We had a heal. We had the raid overall pretty low. This chi burst. Y'all ready? Show it me. 2.3 million chi burst. Whole raid back to full. People never remember that these kind of raid buffs, just because Su Long is no longer being able to be healed, it doesn't matter. Using these abilities, you can use it through the fight. 2.3 million chi burst fired out there. I'm making best use of it, which is fucking awesome. Making absolute best use of it. That, my friends, is Workshop Wednesday. Ba-ba-da-ba. I said million. Oh, Blubzar's in the chat. 2.3 million. Yeah, of course it's full overheal because he healed those few people back to full. Nobody needs 2.3 million healing. The point is you can abuse these spells outside of what their specific use is for, just to make sure it's not padding. It's not padding. That raid needed healing. He went ahead and did it, so it doesn't really matter. Nobody at the end level gives a shit about overhealing, really. Unless that healer is 10% into the fight with a ton of overhealing, then there may be a problem. If you're finishing that fight with everybody alive and you've got a ton of overhealing, nobody cares. It doesn't really matter. Alright guys, that's Workshop Wednesday. The first one ever. Kind of long, 1 hour and 5 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to see your videos. preachgaming@gmail.com. Send them to me. Just send me the YouTube link and I'll do what I want with it. Thursday tomorrow, so we'll be doing questions and stuff tomorrow and also going over your emails. I've got lots of emails to talk about and also a couple of other topics before we get to Drama Friday, which should be fucking awesome. Alright guys, so thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow. Have fun. Bye.